Welcome to the Busy Wise podcast. I'm Leslie Wilson. I'm your host. In this episode, we're doing part 2 of our interview with Emily Mitchell, a talented, beautiful woman who happens to be my cousin. But if you did not listen to episode 4, which is part 1 of the interview, you definitely don't want to miss that. She shared with us about her past, about her medical history and her personal history, and how all of those lessons have been leading her to a point where she was like, okay, what now, God? And in this episode, she's going to share the wisdom that she's learned through that, where she is right now, and how life after cancer and COVID have looked for her, and the beauty that she's found in that, and the way that she's sharing that beauty with the people around her. I'm excited to share this final part of the interview with you.
I need a reason to be here. Whatever I do from here on out, because I've survived cancer and I'm a couple of years out, so the chances of it returning are lowering. Mm-hmm. I'm not, 100, so I'm not ready to really throw in the towel yet, but I'm still here and I have to have something. And
there's a reason I'm here.
I just felt like, and I don't know what the reason is, and it's not, it's not going to look like everybody else's reason. During COVID, we've now gotten me past treatment. Mm-hmm. And I'm ahead of everything a couple of months because I had already shut down. And so COVID was...
You're like, wait, everybody else is having to follow me here.
Yeah. COVID is not that jarring. For my mom, it was really very jarring. And the windows are open. I can't do anything. So I start getting lonely-ish because I can't see. I'm kind of the person that has like a couple of really close friends, but then I have a lot of extended friends, right? Mm-hmm. So if I've met you once and we got along, we are now connected.
Yes.
And the more that I get older and realize, like we went through high school together, we went through middle school, went to college, we went through this, 2 years of time in the Seattle music scene together, that just changed so many, so it's like, we're all in this together. So I start getting kind of lonely, and my dad's aging. He's older and he's getting sick of hearing me talk. So I get really into the flower world, and I start saying, okay, God, well, I'm going to start growing flowers for you. I don't know what else to do. And I'm here, and my sister will only let my nephews come over, when they have downtime, which as a parent, does not happen very often. So I don't get, enough time with whatever. So I start, and I also am running out of room because you talked about John buying computer parts. I went dahlia crazy. So I'm buying hundreds of dahlia tubers to find the best dahlias, because I think I'm going to start breeding dahlias. So I'm buying so many dahlia tubers that I've got to start pulling up parts of my house, like the garden. So I dug up my parking strip. And my dad lives in this really beautiful neighborhood in Seattle. And we are between like a really great park that looks out at the Sound and the Olympic Mountains. And so you walk from that park to another park. That's the largest park in Seattle. That's just looking at the mountains, and it's gorgeous. So we get a lot of people that walk by our house. So I start planting different flowers in my garden, and I sort of start noticing that people are talking to me, and I think like, oh, well, this is kind of fun. Like I can't see anybody because of COVID lockdowns, but when I get lonely, I can just go out to my sidewalk and work in my garden and wait for someone to walk by, and then have like a 45-second conversation with them and feel really good afterwards. So I start putting more and more flowers in my parking strip. I go out there and I just realized that flowers are the cure for
Mm.
COVID loneliness. And then I also, thanks to Facebook and Instagram, I've met a huge flower community in Mount Vernon, Washington. And some of them put out a like, hey, will you come help me dig up, 600 dahlias in my field on Saturday, just out into the world? And I just started showing up and being like, yeah, I drove up from Seattle and I'm here for this and I want to learn and I want to just connect. And I just started approaching people in a more open hearted way because it really, cancer caused me to feel like someone had just opened my heart in a way, cancer and COVID, I guess. And I just was like, I want to help community. And I've learned from people walking by how important my flowers have become to them to see on a daily basis. And, I hear stories from people where they'll say like, oh, I was having a really hard day and I was crying and I walked over to your garden to look at your flowers and I instantly felt better. And so I'm wanting to spread this love, and I don't know what else to do. And I've put my video game life to bed and, sort of come out of the shell of my former life into this world that everyone is traumatized. Everyone is, lonely. Everyone is trying to find footing. And I'm a couple of months ahead in my recovery where I'm like, hey, I went through something similar and this is kind of what has gotten me out of it. So I started photographing my Instagram, my garden, and posting on Instagram and Facebook. And I think even to this day, I don't understand what this simple act of me taking pictures of flowers that I've grown and then posting it on Instagram has done to other people's lives and and the feelings they get from it. Because I get a lot of people that thank me for just trying to stay so positive in what I express out into the world. And so, yeah, so I just started photographing them and just really being like, okay, if this is like the two things that I can do in a day that help other people, I've done good.
Yeah.
And the rest of the time in my world, I really have to like just try and survive. And some, even to this day, some days I'm so bedridden I can't get up and cook or clean or, you know, I mean, really, it's hard when I live on the third floor and the kitchen's on the second floor.
Mm.
And yes, there are some days where my joints hurt so bad that just the idea of walking down a flight of stairs feels impossible.
Mm-hmm.
But even on those days, I'll go outside and look at my flowers and then I'll grab something easy and go back. But yeah, so that's been kind of an amazing thing. And then then my mom got diagnosed with cancer. And during her treatment, I moved to Virginia to be with her during the last year of my sort of medication treatment, getting to that 5-year mark. And so she's going through cancer, a different kind of cancer. And through that, when I was out here, I was just like, oh, maybe I'll take a stained glass class. Just something to do, get out of the house for a couple hours a week. I'll probably meet some people and, there's nothing stopping. And like, why not? I don't know. I have the money. It's not, I'm in the foothills of the mountains in Virginia. So it's not Seattle prices to take a class. So I just did it. And it felt like for the first time ever in my life, my creative vision can come out. That it's what I've been trying to create this whole time, doing different mediums. I did jewelry, I painted, I drew, I took photographs, through all of these things. And I realized that my flowers bring me so much joy in growing that I just want to keep doing that and photographing them and painting. And that's all I want to do. And that's what makes me so happy. And so it just kind of rolled into that. And now I have a studio. I have a makeshift room.
Listen, I think all studios are makeshift. They may be
Yeah.
makeshift on different levels, but I've quit trying to compare whatever my studio is to whatever anybody
Yeah.
else's is.
Yeah. And this is probably the John Dolan in me because I'm like, I have a studio in Seattle and I have a studio in the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia, which
It's bi-coastal. It's bi-coastal.
yeah. Well,
Your
and if you
studio work.
yes, and if you talk to Ibby, she'll say she has my mom. She has bicoastal disease. She has to move from one coast to the other every 5 to 10 years. So and that really just the glass coming in with the flowers and coming in with community and coming in with sharing sort of my experience with people in a way where I will mention to people sometimes like it's really hard to be someone that's chronically ill and it's rough, but within that scenario of having really difficult things happen, I meet the most beautiful, comforting, kind people most of the time.
Yeah.
Some of the times I meet assholes, but I'm pretty good at telling them that. So they don't tend to come around a lot. Turns out when you tell them what jerks they are, they don't want it. They're like, we don't want to bother her anymore. So
that might be a lesson I need to learn.
Yeah. So
that Southern politeness gets me in trouble sometimes.
Yeah. I think the lack of estrogen really helps. I have really never been so just like I am over your shit is now. So yeah, so it's kind of the story that we talk about of that idea of life interrupted. And I think that to me is such a great saying for anyone that's dealing with a chronic illness or even trauma or anything really is like we're just life interrupted. Like our lives are going to be interrupted and we have got to be able to pivot to a place where it just instead of hurting us, it opens us,
That's so fascinating to me because as I've just listened to the story, and getting to hear it all the way through, the thing that kept striking me was with every interruption, you not just found a way through, but like found in that interruption a way to care for people or a creative outlet that you hadn't previously found. And it's amazing to me because that kind of resilience is so vital and so precious in a lot of ways. I'm thankful that in those interruptions, like I think there are people and there are situations in life where we get interrupted and our first answer is like bitterness, or our first answer is why me, and that's okay for that to be the first answer. But then in your story, you lived whatever those grieving moments were, and then you found so far you've found ways to love people through it, you've cared for so many people through it, and to find a creative outlet to process. And that's such a special thing.
Yeah. I mean, I really think like I don't wish what happened on me to anyone, and unless they've had the amount of preparation that I've had. It's like any number of things that I have been through would have taken someone down. I mean, even falling off and missing, more than half a year junior year of high school. And like, it's kind of like those football injuries that are random. I mean, riding horses does come with a bit of safety measures for obvious reasons, but it's like it was just one of those complete just random accidents. Yeah. But so I was kind of prepared for it. But then, there's also the side of me that feels like a complete another failure because I don't, own a house and I didn't get married and I don't have kids. And the things on the checklist or just even the life milestones that a lot of people get to live through. I haven't been able to due to multiple reasons. And that's been really heartbreaking. But even through that, it makes me realize like, well, if I had done a more traditional path, I wouldn't be as close to the John Dolan's kids who I nannied for, Olivia. I mean, I still talk to Jack and Henry, but boys in their 20s are doing whatever they want. But, I talk to Olivia a lot, almost weekly, I feel like. And, just random, hey, how's it going? Are you feeling okay? And she checks in, and I feel like, oh, I did make an impact on kids in a way that it did help shape them to who they are. And I'm kind of thankful I don't have kids now because I don't have the energy to, I see my nephew and I love my nephew, but I'm also like, all right, nap time,
You can go home
like,
now.
yeah, I
Yeah.
love you, but I got to lay down and I
Yeah.
can't lay down on the floor with you because Auntie has a boo boo back, so,
Yeah.
um, and it's also allowing me to take care of my parents before they're gone. And I'm really incredibly grateful for that as well, because I just know the last, I would say like 15 years or 20 years of my grandparents, both grandfathers' lives were filled with kids and grandkids and friends. And I want to recreate that for my parents of spending time with them and their friends that are still around, and just kind of taking care of them like they took care of me, circle of life kind of thing. So I'm incredibly grateful for it, but because it was so non-traditional, there's a lot of pain that comes with it, I think, too. And there's a lot of frustration just being born a woman and working in a male dominated industries, and and all of that stuff. But now I don't, I really try to focus more on like, okay, I got dealt kind of a sucky hand in life, but that's okay. I can handle it as long as I can create, as long as I can grow flowers, as long as I can do random acts of kindness, then I'm okay with it. And so now it really is kind of random acts of kindness is kind of how I try to live my day. It's like going to the grocery store. How are you doing? I walked by an elder home the other day, and I just happened to look up randomly, and there was a woman waving out the window, and was so happy to see that someone actually looked up to see her, because I can imagine a lot of people are staring at their phones walking by. And then, of course, I lifted up my dog to show off Lolly to her, and she loved that. And when I go home, I'm going to see if she's there again, and I want to take her some flowers from Trader Joe's, because it's like a block and a half away from Trader Joe's. And so just trying to acknowledge to people like, hey, I see you. Like, it must be lonely. I can't imagine, sitting by a window in hopes that someone will wave. And if I do have to be in that point, it's like, what would I want? I would want someone to see me and to do something like randomly bring me flowers, or, and that's what I try to do when people walk by my garden. I'm like, let me cut a bouquet for you. And sometimes they're like, yes, sometimes they're like, no, I have a really long walk. I don't want to carry flowers, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But, if I'm out in my garden and you walk by, pick the best flower you want, whatever you want, it doesn't matter to me. I want you to pick what you want, and I want to give it to you, because this is, kind of how I live life. And I'm trying to instill that in Logan, which is kind of fun because, he's a 10-year-old, 8-year-old kid. I guess he was 7, maybe he was even 6 when this happened, but he tried to offer a flower to a man who was not interested in flowers. And Auntie, why didn't he take the flower? So we kind of had to talk about, well, some people aren't ready, or some people don't want to, and that's okay. They have other things. I'm sure if you'd offered him a robot, he probably would have been into it, but like, let's make somebody's day happy. So
Yeah.
we'll just wait until someone comes by that's going to really appreciate it. And then we're going to do it. So that's been fun, but yeah. And it feels good. Like I think through everything, this is like, I feel the best just spiritually and emotionally, and just, I've gone through so much, and each trauma I've tried to work on myself to kind of come out of it better than I went into each of these experiences.
Mm.
So so it's a double-edged sword in a lot of ways, but it's also, I don't feel like my life is any less important because I can't work the traditional way, or because I can't function in society in a traditional way, because, of everything have gone through. Like, so yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I hate to wrap it up. I know
Yeah.
you have plans. We've got
I
to do
do.
things, but
That's okay though.
I was gonna ask you if you could think of some of the best advice you've ever gotten. I know John
Mm,
Dolan is a great advisor,
he is.
but
I
maybe.
was actually thinking about this. I was going to Instagram about this. One time I was giving the kids a bath, and
Mhm.
John came in and we were discussing water temperature. And John said, you always heat up first because it's easier to cool down than to heat up. Just
Interesting.
in terms of energy, like,
Yeah.
to get the water warm again
Yeah.
is easier. And for some reason, I think about that a lot, of like, what is the thing that I can do that's going to make this the easiest? And in some ways, that's probably not the greatest advice, or that the best word to use, but it's more that idea of like, flow like water. Like, if I'm pushing for a life that I think is going to answer everything, and it's requiring so much of me that I'm like physically falling apart, and my ego's out of control, and my ADHD is unchecked, and my neuroses are going crazy, and I'm in an unhealthy relationship with someone that is not helping but is actively hurting, not in a physical way but in a life way, you know why not just do the thing that is going to make things easier and better, which is like, just let go. And so I think about that a lot.
I
I
love that, the simplicity of it, because
Yeah.
I think all the time, how many times am I pushing, and my brain works. John thinks I have ADHD. My husband thinks I have ADHD. I told him I
Right.
didn't at this point need to be tested because
Yeah.
I figured out how to work with my brain. So,
Yeah.
you know, but, but a lot of times I'm a pattern recognizer. So I
Hmm.
like when we're doing something work related or home related, I'm like, wait, no, just pause. If we do this, and then this, it
Yeah.
all gets done faster. Let's do it
Yep.
that way. Let's make it simple. Or in my work life, a lot of times I work in Parks and Recreation. So we're a
Hmm.
government agency that's supposed to be making accessibility for the public simple.
Hmm.
And that's hard because in those situations, you always have um, processes that need
Right.
to be accomplished in some way in order for there to be a like record and an end result and all of these things that have to be measurable.
Hmm.
But my constant question is, why are we making it hard for the public? Like,
Right.
if like we still have to do those things, but let's figure out a way to make it easy,
Hmm.
because we live in a world where if it takes 5 clicks to get to something, you're going to lose 90% of the
Yes.
people before you get there. If you, I live a lot in, dealing with our medical stuff where it's like, if I have to push through to get to an end result,
Hmm.
the likelihood of that end result is going to be a lot lower, and my family is going to be recovering for a week of whatever I
Right.
had to push through. So how do I take the simplest route. Yeah, you heat up the water, or you can always add heat, but the cool only comes with time. So
Yeah.
that's such a, of course, it's such a smart thing. Like, it's such a simple but
I know.
really big truth.
Yeah. And I think I may have warped it, because I think what I think is really beautiful is actually like the opposite of physics, of course.
Of course.
And
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, physics, that doesn't work. But like at the same
I
time,
know.
you can control, like in that situation, you can control the heat. You can't control the like cool off period or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah. So there's a lot of people that have said a lot of really amazing things. I'm terrible at remembering. So quotes and stuff don't usually get me. It's more action, or it's more of those moments that I spend with someone where I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And, I think a lot about my grandfather, who was a U.S. senator and congressman, and how open he was to people from all walks of life. And they did a lot for, he grew up in Montana and then moved west, and they did a lot for natives. He and his family were, the Mitchells were pretty big into early Montana, Washington state history. They did a lot for the Native Americans, recognizing not only that their land has been taken, but they're being, degraded in society.
Stripped of dignity. Yeah.
Yeah. And just so I really learned from him not being judgmental and really saying, we can be completely different. You and I can come from different ends of the spectrum, politically, financially, all of this stuff. But if you're a good person and you come from a good place, then we're going to connect. And, and to me, that's more important in a lot of ways. Now, it's getting a little harder to feel that way about people with our current politics and what's going on. But I truly believe that the majority of people want to help and not hurt. And unfortunately, right now in the world, the people who may be in power might enjoy pain more than the majority of us, but the majority of us will at some point do something. And that is my hope. Humanity will rise. As Jon Stewart says, this is not the first time we've gone through this. It's not the last time. I think it's painful for us because the internet works so fast, and we went from books to endless amounts of information within a relatively short period of time in history.
Yeah.
So we've blown our brains out, but we'll see. But yeah, so I think that's what I've been thinking about a lot lately, is just that John quote, and just thinking about how can I do things in a loving way that is going to allow me to function and allow other people to live. But it does get hard coming from the chronic side of, like, I keep having to set boundaries that I really feel like should be respected or should have been respected years ago. And now I'm like, no, this is
really actually a thing.
Yeah. And I'm having that. I keep thinking about your daughter and how she's always cold, and how I'm always overheating, and it's become such a problem. And I'm having a constant, I basically just have to live in a refrigerator and then go and like visit people in their normal temperatured house and then go back to my ice bucket house because, so that gets hard. That gets exhausting.
Yeah.
But I think being alone, as much as a chronic illness person is alone, they really, I am never bored. There's not a point in the day where I think I'm bored or I don't know what to do or anything like that. I'm always just so kind of into my own thoughts, which could be a good or a bad thing, I guess.
Could be dangerous.
Could be dangerous. Probably not, but Hey, we're
Yeah, I'm so
chilling.
thankful for you. That's the thing I want to
Hey,
say is
oh,
I'm so thankful for you. I'm thankful that you would be willing to share your story, but I'm
yeah.
thankful for the light that you bring into the world because getting to see you so rarely, and then especially over the past few years with all the medical stuff,
Mm,
us not being able to be at reunion or like that's been such a challenge.
yeah.
But as much as sometimes I'd like to be like I'm moving somewhere and weaving mats for a living and leaving technology all the way behind. I'm thankful because I see the light that you share with people. I see
Oh, good.
the gentle spirit, even when you're really frustrated with the world as a whole or
Yeah.
with your world specifically, like the art that you create, the love that you share, the people that you take care of. I get to see that from even from far away, and I'm
Yeah.
very grateful for that. I'm grateful
Oh,
that even in all of these interruptions that we've talked about, that the thing that has lasted has been your compassion and your empathy and your creativity, and those things
yeah.
really are such powerful gifts to the world. So I just wanted to make
Thank
sure you
you.
heard me say that I'm so thankful for that.
Oh no, and actually you are currently helping me heal some creativity blocks as well. I One of my exes told me once that I was not an artist, and I think I slammed on the brakes, pulled the car
I would
over,
love to go back in time and
and
stop that.
and just was like, I can't, like what you're saying doesn't even make sense because I had been doing art my whole life.
Hmm.
I'm terrible with criticism though. And I've learned to figure out my voice now
Mm.
as I get older. Now I'm like, well, who are you? What do I care? Like, all right.
I'm still
Maybe
working on
it's,
that.
well, maybe it's not my greatest piece, but in terms of the catalog,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
one of many. So, um, and I think this practice and this stained glass has been teaching me that I really think we're all artists. It just depends on what the canvas is.
I
And
agree.
yeah, and I think during my illness, I just decided to make the canvas my life. Or, I just got so sick and weak that it was like, I can't hide the awful, but I've got to create a world in which I can function. And my world was not that for a long time. It was, it looked great, when I was in corporate world, and it was fun, but it was not, I wasn't making the impact that I'm making now. And the thing that I love the most is when I get notes from people now that I worked with in the past and I haven't seen in a long time that are just like, your flowers just inspire me. And I'll never, they'll say, I'll never be as good as you. And I'm like, I literally just threw some shit in dirt. You can do it too. But I do want to give a shout out to your dad, because your dad, and I want the world to hear this as well, but I had some poppies get stolen that I had planned on, um, getting the seeds and giving them I have a free library in front of my house, and it started as a free gardening library, and I would put seeds in it. But then people started stealing the gardening books. And so then it was like a cookbook library, and then that happened, and now it's just whatever.
Whatever's
So I
there.
was going to put bags of seeds in. Anyway, someone came in the middle of the night and they stole half my collection, like
Mm.
cut the pod heads off, but didn't actually pull the stuff up. So that made me really mad in that they left me a bunch of work to do. So I was like, you can't even be polite criminals and clean up after yourself. Just take the whole thing. Like,
Just take the
why
whole
just
thing.
cut the pod and then leave me all the stuff to clean up? Yeah, I was really pissed about that. But also, your dad just randomly sent me mail one day, a couple days after that, and it was a gift card with the instructions to use it for more seeds. And so not only was I able to buy more seeds, but I was able to share seeds with different people and just share that gift, knowing that it came from your dad. So, to me, that was such a random act of kindness, and I really wanted to pay it forward. So not only did I get new poppies, but my mom, my aunt, everybody. So I wanted to do that before we got off this call.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That'll mean a lot to him.
Good.
He is one of the many people that finds so much joy in what you share. It's funny to me that my dad is very connected online. A lot of times he knows things before I do, especially when it comes to Facebook, which it's hysterical knowing his personality that this is what that is. But he finds a lot of connection there, and he gets so much joy seeing your flowers and hearing your stories. So it's a blessing both ways, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And I think he and I went through treatment.
Yes. Yeah.
Around similar times too. Yeah.
I think you started first, and then he was a couple years after you, but I think that there was even some inspiration in that, and kind of we've lived through this together a little bit, even from far away. So he holds you in a special place in his heart, for sure.
Oh, thank you. I've really I think I had known the power of social media, but when I got sick, I did not realize the real true impact of social media and being able to connect with people so far away, but also just through experiences. And I knew that I was going to have to talk about the cancer stuff, as time went on, and that it was going to be part of my story, and that I wanted to talk about it because I wanted people to understand the experience. But I'm not one of those cancer people who shows photographs or goes super into the details. For me, it's really been more of the what now, God. I want to show that experience of hitting some sort of rock bottom. And I feel like cancer treatment is kind of as rock bottom as you can get, right? You've got no hair, nothing tastes good. You feel like you're dying because your cells are dying. And you just get to a place where all you can say is, what now, God? And I want to show that, and that real time healing that can happen. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad that it helped.
It did. Well, I know you have somewhere to be, and I love you so much. Thank you so much for doing
so much. Mwah! I can't wait for this to go in the world. Yes. I do want to also show my mom makes these really great water bottle cozies. She crochets them because I have to freeze my water bottles all the time. And so she makes really tall ones for me, or she makes these short ones. But this for chronic illness people is fabulous because it means you're not leaving rings everywhere with your ice in the summer months.
Yes. Good practical thought. So
exactly. All right. I love you. We'll talk soon.
I'll talk to you soon. There was so much great wisdom in the way that Emily has decided to live her life. So many times in which that interrupted life led her to compassion and empathy and strength and creativity. And I love that she said that she's decided to make the canvas her life because she can share the parts of her life now and how they have been affected through all of the challenges, all of the medical situations, all of the life experiences that she's had, so that she can encourage other people. I hope that this 2-part interview blessed you as much as it blessed me. I would love to hear your comments as well, what you learned from this episode or what you've learned through your own interruptions in your life. Please make sure to follow and like and subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram as we continue to tell these stories. I want to encourage you, like I have every episode, to look around your busy life, all of the things that are going on around you, and think about what you've learned, what wisdom you've gained, and who you can share it with.